Hey everybody, I am so excited about our sponsor for this month, the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. It's the Gillot Home Team and Laura Gillot. How are you doing, Laura?
I'm doing wonderful.
That is so awesome. You know, the Gillot Home Team is doing so much in real estate. Give us a snapshot of what you're up to.
Awesome. Well, last year we were able to help 551 families either buy or sell real estate. We love our community. We love our clients. Our mission is to deliver the keys to home ownership through stellar customer service, integrity, and joy. And we're looking to help even more folks this year.
That is so awesome. You know, if you want a team that is there for you, is the Gillot Home Team and Laura Gillot. And thanks so much, Laura, for your sponsorship.
Hey!
Good morning. Welcome everybody to the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. How's everybody doing, and how are you doing, D. Scott?
Hey, it was good. And yeah, thank you to Laura for making the experience possible.
Yeah,
she's
such a good friend. She is so great. Yeah, she's so great. So I appreciate her.
She's going to be on the show coming up too, so people can interact with her live.
Yes. That is so true. Yep, we will have her on soon. Episode. We have a little bit of a delay going on, but all is good because it's live and it's good. So, hey, listen, our little upcoming events, I wanted you to give us, take a second and talk about your upcoming networking boot camp real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to put this in, I'm going to put a little link in the chat, I think. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. All right, I won't put a link in the chat. Hey, rebrand.ly, rebrandly /networking bootcamp. Networking and bootcamp both have capital, so capital N, capital B. So I'm running a bootcamp on networking the 8th through the 11th next week, 2 to 2:30 Pacific time. So it's a challenge. So we're going to be talking about the ROI of networking, how you evaluate your network, find the gold in there, and nurture it to get more referrals. So that's the challenge coming up next week.
That is so awesome. Hey, also,
you've got a big event coming up.
Yes, local. If you are in the local area, I have a book signing event this Saturday, 1 to 4, Rainbow West, Salem, Oregon. Be there, be square. Also running a selfie promotion this week. You go in, you take a picture, a selfie by my big pop-up banner. You're entered to win a free book. So it's going to be a great week. Excited. Looking forward to that. And so we are going to keep moving through this while we're excited and bringing Raquel Borras, our first guest today, because we're excited to get the show on the road. Hey, Raquel, how's it going?
Good. You know, it's so early for you guys. You guys are nutcases.
You know, when it's the experience day, both Russ and I are up early just because we're excited to talk to you.
Yeah, no, I was like, okay, 10 a.m.'s good. I'm not a morning person, but I was thinking it's 7 for you guys. I was like, wow, they're ambitious.
Yeah, well, I think both of us are up between 4:30 in the morning, get rolling. And yeah, that's just the way we are. But, you know, I'm super excited today to have you, Raquel, and Victor both on because, you know, you're both doing things with kids and in education and different areas. That's really exciting. And your podcast, Rack the Boat, is so cool. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first, speaking of experience, can I just tell the world like how crazy this is? So, and is it D Scott or is it Scott?
Call me Scott.
The D?
Yeah. And you are mi prima.
I know. So I think Scott and I are kind of related in a weird, kind of crazy way. So we had a conversation on Saturday, our first one, and we're talking, and he's like, "Wait, so your mom's Mexican, right? Your mom's from Mexico?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Yeah, my grandfather's from Mexico too. He's an orphan from a small town called Tepic," and I'm like, Tepic Nayarit. He's like, yep. I'm like, that's where my mom's from. Like, that's where my family, I have a huge lineage in Tepic. So the fact that we both.
Yeah. So your family was in government there. So my great grandfather, who's then my grandmother was his daughter, but my great grandfather ran for mayor during the revolution. lost the election. It wasn't healthy to lose elections during the revolution. So that night he left Mexico, came to California, and then sent for my family. But somehow we're going to find out if the Cornejo clan, which is my family, was
Seriously?
somehow
Well,
connected.
and it's also weird that it's like political, right? Because my cousins right now, the governor of Nayarit, my great uncle was the governor. Like, so I have a lot of politicians, and so it's just kind of crazy that your great grandfather was trying to be a politician.
No,
So,
no.
anyways, it was kind of crazy when we were talking about it. It was just weird.
I told everyone there's going to be some stunning revelations in today's
Yeah, so maybe Victor and I are related too in some way. So we'll have to find out. But
You're all-
Well, we know we're all related at some point. But
yeah.
So tell us more about Rock the Boat.
Yeah, so Rock the Boat, I just started this YouTube channel. I think I'm going on 2 months now, and it is just candid conversations with kids of all ages. I knew I wanted to do something in this format where I'm speaking to people, but I didn't want to talk to adults, not to like, be kind of went, but adults can kind of suck. Like, Unlike us,
the happy fun adults.
You too. Yeah, like I want to have conversations. I want it to be fun. Like I am such a kid myself. I'm very playful, and I thought, well, kids, that's right up my alley. And not only that, kids right now, they're suffering a lot more than I think that we really recognize, because already you throw social media at them, and that in itself is really detrimental to their mental health. Because, they're comparing themselves and then they're finding their worth in it, all of it. So you've got social media, and then you have the pandemic where most of them are doing virtual learning. So they're not even interacting with their friends. So there's a lot going on there with them. And I thought, you know what, kids right now more than ever need to feel worthy. They need to feel empowered, seen, heard, all of those things. I said, so if I can be someone that can have them feel that way, then hopefully it could be a ripple effect. And so that others can do the same, and just also realize that really the generational gap, it's not that large, really. I mean, I'm in my mid 40s, but I'm talking to kids that are under 10, and we're connecting in such an awesome way over things that like cartoons or video games. And you would think as an adult, like, oh, how can I relate to these kids? You really can, believe me, especially when you start talking to them, you start feeling like a little kid yourself, and you start remembering things about your childhood and things that you liked. And it's such a cool connection. And that's what I want, is I want the connection between adults and children. I want that gap to minimize. Just because technology is out there doesn't mean that we have to, kind of succumb to that and just give in to the fact that our kids are on their phones all day long. Believe me, these kids are enjoying having just a basic conversation about anything. You'd be surprised.
Right. And it gives you hope for the future, right?
Actually, it does. If anything, it's the opposite, where I think a lot of people are like, oh, we're doomed, these kids. No. I'm starting to realize that we're the ones that are screwing them up. Like they're born beautiful, curious, all of those things. And then somehow we're the ones that are like effing with their brain. So it's like, I just think that we need to catch them when they're young and nurture that and let them be kids. Like that's the thing too, is they're maturing too quickly.
Right.
We have to give them that space to just be kids. And we need to remain kids too. I think that's another thing too, is that I feel that just because we're adults, it's like society or something is telling us that like, oh, we got to be serious. We got to take life really serious. No, why? Like, why can't we have fun? Why can't we play?
They could teach us so much. Kids can. And, and speaking of true connection with kids, we're going to bring in Victor and bring him into the conversation. Hey, Victor. How's it going?
Buenos dias. Howdy. Doing great, man. Raquel, that energy you have is amazing. And I totally agree with you.
Which is really scary.
No, I love it.
Bring in your friend.
Yeah.
Oh, you okay. All right.
You're not there alone. You're not
Speaking of big kids.
Not alone. Talking about being a big kid, right? So I never grew up.
Hola, ¿qué tal? How you doing? Buenos dias.
So this is Fuego.
Yeah, fire in
English. Fuego.
Hola.
Yeah.
Fuego,
¿Qué
¿cuántos
tal? How are you, Raquel?
Muy bien. ¿Cuántos años tienes, Fuego?
How old am I? You're 10, I think.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I did.
Yes, muy bien.
So Victor,
Oh, a puppet show. Yes, a puppet show.
Yeah.
And shout out to Nancy, my best friend, who's on here supporting in California, and then Tim.
Yes,
We all know-
Nancy
oh yeah,
and
they,
the fabulous Tim.
yeah.
they are doing so great. So Victor, tell us a little bit about one of you. You or your friend. Tell us a little bit all that's going on at the OSU Extension Service and your reach out with education, the cool things you're doing.
STEM and STEAM.
STEM and STEAM. So yeah, for those who are not familiar with the terms, many of you have probably heard of STEM, so science, technology, engineering, math. I like to add the arts, like arte, yeah, with emphasis using the arts to get kids interested in science, technology, engineering, and math. So I work for Oregon State University Extension. I do a lot of K through 12 outreach and engagement, especially with underserved, underprivileged youth, and specifically Latino, Hispanic, because that's my background.
Yeah. Viva Mexico.
Well, that
That
is
is
so cool,
fabulous.
Victor. Listen, I love the puppets. I haven't seen that for so long. I used to have a pastor who did ventriloquism all the time, and it was the adults loved it more than the kids. Lots of big kids out there.
So Victor, how did you learn ventriloquism?
YouTube.
Seriously.
Just prove it.
Yeah, YouTube. I mean, I'm a knowledge junkie, and anything you want to learn, you just go on to YouTube or social media. It's incredible. Plus, I have followed ventriloquists on Facebook groups. Right? I mean, we're talking about networking things here, right? So I network with folks that have the same passions and interests that I have, which I have several, as you know, Scott. Multi-instrumentalist. I love aviation and drones and. I wanted to be a pilot and a musician and a photographer and a teacher all at the same time. And now I use, technology, music, drones, comedy, poetry to get kids interested and excited about learning.
Well, I look forward to the time that we can play music together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is awesome.
Yes, definitely.
So Raquel,
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about what you're doing outside of Rack the Boat these days. What are you up to?
Well, so my focus is primarily on Rock the Boat because I really feel like there's something big there. And I just love that these kids want to continue to come back around and talk to me. So I'm having multiple conversations with the same kids. So I'm developing friendships with these kids. But obviously I got to survive, right? The reality is we got to pay the bills. So the bills are being paid by, I do personal brand strategy. So I do have clients that I work with on their personal brand. But I'm kind of niched in the sense that people that I work with really need to be able to think outside of the box and be creative, because the whole point of, putting yourself out there and being a brand is it's an extension of who you are, right? Like I just personally don't believe in the 1, 2, 3 step, right? Like, oh, you want a brand? Just do these things. No, I'm very customized. I'm all about who are you? What's the why of why you're doing it? Tell me your story, and then let's go ahead and work from there, because I think that essentially at the end of the day is that we have to be able to connect with each other on an emotional level, right? It has to be.
And I love that. I love the creativity. I love to talk about kids. So there's some research that was done about creativity.
Okay.
And, every child is born a dancer, a singer, an artist, right? And when does that stop? Well, maybe between the age of 5 and 7. And that's also the time when we basically start caring what other people think. And so when they did this research on creativity, they took jazz musicians, they put them inside an MRI, they looked at their brain when they were playing straight music by note, as it was written, and then when they were doing improvisation, which is a big part of jazz music, and that's where the creative part. And when they looked at the brain, it wasn't the part that became active when they were doing the improv. It was the part that was suppressed. And the part of the brain that was suppressed was the part that said, I care what other people think. And so if you want to be creative, then then get online, order yourself a ventriloquist dummy, get on YouTube,
Get yourself a Fuego.
Yeah. Go on,
and,
Scott.
and just do it, right? And don't worry about what other people think. It's like, because you can unleash your creativity, and that will change the world.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people suppress it just naturally, right? They don't realize they're suppressing it. Like I didn't realize I was suppressing mine for so long. Like I'm an artist too, so this is a painting of mine behind me, and I told you my great aunt in Tepic, she was an artist as well. So it's literally like in my veins and my blood. But for whatever reason, I suppressed it because I was like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I didn't go to art school, or I didn't study. So then you get in your head thinking like, well, then then I'm not that talented. And now that I'm painting and I'm putting it out there on social media, because before I wouldn't share it, now I'm sharing it because it is also a form of therapy. And I want people to understand too with mental health how important it is for self-care. And that's one of those things that I do. So I've been putting it out there, and people are buying my paintings. Like people are really.
And I like your style. I like your style. When you gave me a little tour and saw some of your paintings, and I love the style. So you have to put those out so we can take a look. Share that.
Huh?
Share them. We need to see the images.
Oh, well, I don't know, like how I guess.
Well, maybe not now.
It's one of those things that I'd have to like do one of those, and like I don't know how to like. Yeah, but they're there.
Wow, that's amazing.
They're there.
Look at that.
Yeah, so that's another thing too, and it's since I've been doing that and tapping into my creative side even more, I'm telling you, it is. Like just where I am vibrationally too. I don't think people realize that creativity, the vibration that you're giving out into the world is at a higher vibration. And if we all showed our creativity and we were all doing it at the same time, like imagine like how amazing like our world could be. Like I just think we need to tap more into that. That's
So
all.
Raquel, you talked about sometimes we suppress that in children, right? And so my goal is to get those children back into what they were passionate about and not lose that energy and their passion. So, trying to identify their passions and get excited about learning, because if you're passionate about something, you will do anything, and you will go through anything, learn anything in order to be successful at that thing that you're most passionate about, right?
So how are you doing it? Like specifically, like what are some of the tools or the skills that you're teaching them to kind of hone in on that? I'm curious.
Well, try to draw out, play, lots of play. I mean, kids naturally play. They have curious minds. So doing things and not necessarily explaining things to them, but pulling them out from them, to show them that they do have the capability of thinking creatively, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we do things like, I do quite a bit of drone education. And so I give them a challenge of, okay, create a drone. And we give them like popsicle sticks and cotton balls and markers and paper and, all kinds of stuff. And says, create a drone that will benefit humanity. And that's about what I say, right? And so so some of the kids come up with things like a drone that goes out and has sensors that finds debris, junk in the ocean, and then notifies a robot that's a boat that goes out and scoops it up, right? And then they talk to each other. And so they come up with this thing, and they make these little robots and drones out of, paper and glue and paper clips and things like that. But it just, ignites their imagination and say, hey, that is really cool. You validate their creativity, and they feel really good about that, and I talk to them as human beings, as people. You don't talk down to them, right?
No, that's the same thing with my channel. I'm just having these conversations with them in a way where I'm not like, I'm at their level in the sense of like, let's just chat, right? Like, forget that I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like,
and then when they see adults like us having fun, that it's okay to have fun and be crazy and different. So many kids are who are worried about fitting in, and it's like the older you get, we realize that it's better to not fit in, because that's what stands out, right? You being unique, and you are unique. We all are unique.
Yeah,
and,
you know,
and letting kids know that that is okay and that's a good
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
yeah, they're looking for really, the younger generation is really looking for authenticity in adults. They're looking for authentic adults like you two that are connecting directly with them instead of trying to put on some polished show of how they should be. You're meeting them where they are. And I think that's so awesome.
Yeah, I have kids that like are in the room, it's dark, and they're like, I'm like, that's okay. This is what it is. Like, you know, I had one kid on Saturday. I'm gonna have her again on this weekend, and she was just doing like back bends on her bed, and she was trying to show me, like, you know, and she had dirty clothes on the bed, and it was in some bedroom. Like, but I don't care. Like, I wasn't gonna edit any of that. Like, that's what's happening right now. Like, we're all indoors, and it's just, and so yeah, like I don't edit anything unless I have to. If they say something, obviously, that I'm like, ooh. Otherwise, but Victor, I love what you're doing too, because I think what happens is you learn so much about the kid, and then the kid learns about themselves when they're doing these drones, right? Because when they explain what it means, like that they're, you know, helping humanity, then you can automatically start getting a sense of like how they think and all of those things. So that's like really smart because you're just learning from their imagination right there on the spot.
Right. And so I could also use, I mean, the drones are just a tool, just like the puppets are a tool, or the music, you know. So I help kids write lyrics, right? I show them the process, but the thoughts behind them are them, you know, they're communicating. And a cool thing about puppets, especially for those shy kids who are not used to, you know, they're really scared of talking in front of people. You put a puppet in their hand, and all of a sudden that puppet is separate from them, and they're able to communicate through the puppet and transfer their thoughts and their communications. And the puppet is not shy because it's not them, you know, even though it's them manipulating it. But for some reason, it just kind of transfers over, and it brings them out because they don't feel that they're putting themselves out. It's the puppet that's doing it, right?
Yeah.
So
I am like so excited about this, Russ and Scott. You guys, this is amazing. Like, so yeah, Victor, you're gonna have to connect with. So my best friend Nancy, she's on here. She's an educator. She's a speech therapist and a speech teacher, and so she works with a lot of kids on the spectrum too. And so she's wonderful with children, like amazing. And so yeah, you guys definitely need to connect because, like, anybody that wants to help kids, like we all need to be part of like this like huge mastermind, right? Like,
yeah. And I think this is why Russ and Scott brought us here, right?
yeah.
Doesn't it do your heart good? I mean, look
Oh
what's
my
happening.
gosh! Like, I'm so happy.
Oh my
right
gosh.
I love these.
Give us some more, Victor.
Yeah, well, Fuego here is actually a freedom fighter.
Yes, I fight for freedom and justice. Where there is injustice, I will be there.
That's right.
Where there is a need, I will be there.
That's right.
Where there's nachos, I will be there.
Oh,
Nachos.
I'm right there with you, Fuego. Nachos and some, you know, frijoles negros.
He actually has a nonprofit organization.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, to save the nachos. What's it called?
Nachos libre.
Oh. Just back like
Oh, you're so funny.
oh my God. Now I'm craving nachos. I might have to make
I love nachos.
nachos.
Órale.
Well, you know, Victor and Raquel, you guys are both so awesome. You know, what I really appreciate about both of you, getting connected with both of you, becoming friends with both of you, is that you are truly who you are. You're real, you're authentic, and you're really making a difference. That's what really Scott and I have been looking for as we do this live show. We're looking for people that are really making a difference, that are really, truly connecting with people in a real way. And, you know, we talked about Nancy, who's watching. Hello, Nancy. She and I had a great chat last night about just, you know, authenticity. She's such a warm-hearted, authentic person. And there's so many people like that. And kids is where it starts. And the fact that you, Raquel, and Victor are reaching out to the kids, you're making them laugh. You're showing them that we like to be big kids and have fun too.
Yeah.
And I remember a quick story when my wife and I were first married. We all had young kids, and we went with our best friends to the beach. And every time we went with the families, you had to be the parent, and you had to, say, no, stop, don't do that. And you had to be on top of them. So we went with them just by ourselves, just the adults. And we were all throwing each other in the water and laughing and doing crazy things that we would have told the kids to stop. So I think that it's good not to do that. It's good to let kids be kids.
But doesn't it feel really good when you're playing and you're just being silly? Like there's something very euphoric about that, like that feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but just when you're laughing and you're just like letting go, it's like magic. Like that's how I explain it. It's just magic. And it's like, I want to give permission for others to do that in adults. And that's why I'm just a total goof on. I'm the queen of goofiness on my LinkedIn.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I love it when you are laughing so hard you can't breathe and you're crying. And
oh my God, your stomach hurts. And you're like, yes. But it is like a drug. It's really, it's medicine. Laughter really is the best medicine. Like it truly is. And that's why I try to make people laugh.
Yeah. Well, you do good. You do good. Hey, as we wrap things up, and Victor is still having fun, we're going to start with Victor. Tell us a little bit about how people get in touch with you, Victor.
Yeah. How do we connect?
Well, I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, if you happen to be on Clubhouse now. But I go as Drone Singer. So at Drone Singer, the Weird Al of Drones, world's #1 creator of parody songs about drones. If you just Google Drone Singer as one word, Google will show you like 3 pages full of all my stuff. But I do have a website, dronesinger.com. So yeah.
Perfect. And Raquel?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse too. But I would love for people to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rock the Boat. Get it? RAQ, Rock.
Already subscribed. I saw it.
Thank you. I hit the 100
cool.
mark yesterday. So now I'm trying to figure out, I know I can customize the URL, but it's not letting me do it. But I just had a friend who introduced me to a YouTuber guy, and hopefully you'll give me some tips. But yeah, if I can get as many subscribers over there, because in the end, it just helps the kids to have as many people, watching and listening to them. So it's all about them. Right.
Well, it is. And, we want to, Scott and I both want to tell you guys too, please subscribe to the Experience YouTube, also to Russ Head YouTube and D. Scott Smith YouTube, where we have lots of content and good information. I was just working with one of our friends, Jim Fuse, yesterday, learning about TubeBuddy, learning how to improve my YouTube. So we're always learning. So yeah, we appreciate everybody coming in today. Scott, what's your parting words for the day?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go back to Anita's comment. Says, Scott, I don't care what people say when I sing, but the ants fall from the wall fainted. So I do play guitar. I play bass. And people say, oh, Scott, do you sing? I said, yes, like a hinge. So,
I break windows.
Be creative. Do not care what other people say.
That's right. Hey, Raquel, Victor, we're going to send you guys out. Hang tight for just a second. Thank you so much. We appreciate you both so much. Have a fabulous day. We'll talk to you in just a minute.
We'll see you.
Hey.
All right.
Another experience comes to a close. That 30 minutes always goes too fast.
Oh my goodness, it does. I think that, we value everybody out there watching. We know your time is valuable. We don't want to drone on forever because trust me, we could talk and talk.
You're a drone singer.
That's it. A drone singer or droning on. We could use lots of drone jokes. There you go. But yeah, listen, thank you, everybody. Remember, every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. Scott and I are still figuring it out, but we're going to get this thing down one of these days. Practice.
Time. So flow up every week. Every week.
That's it. And don't forget Scott's upcoming boot camp, networking boot camp that will be coming soon. And there it is. And if you guys are interested in that, you can go to dscottsmith.com and check out his information. Also, don't forget russhedge.com. And until we see you again next week, have a great day and a great life. We'll talk to you soon.
Enjoy the
Bye-bye.
experience.